Hello, how are you? Let's start with the news about what's happening in the world today. Well, there's a turn of events that's starting to draw attention, especially considering that a war is coming, one that could spread, that could be long. According to what is reported and confirmed by Reuters itself, the news agency, well, it has been surprising today because they claim that the United States is preparing, and today, the intuition we had about the movements we were seeing was exactly that. What we were telling you is, look, they're sending the biggest aircraft carrier they have, when they already have an aircraft carrier, when they already have, besides the fleet of that aircraft carrier they have. Besides that, they have another destroyer, they have the military bases that are in the Middle East, about 40,000 soldiers. Why do you want another one if you're already sending another one? Now, this is a whole other level. Well, according to what's being reported, Reuters reveals this exclusively. According to them, they've given information to the United States Army that plans are being prepared for a long military campaign. At least several weeks they continue. We have to remember that last time it was 40 minutes. I mean, the Israelis lasted 12 days, but the United States went in for 40 minutes and left. I mean, they bombed, and goodbye. They didn't get involved any further. The ones who actually operated, the ones who really fought the war, let's say, were between Israel and Iran, right? The United States got involved, let's say, just for a little while, and that's it this time, according to what they say. According to United States officials, quoted anonymously, this operation would be much broader than a specific attack carried out in June. So, we're seeing that in this region, we're going to get closer to Iran, not to this area. We already know that. The military base here, the aircraft carrier, an aircraft carrier that's already ready in this area, the aircraft carrier uses. Gerald Ford, who was in the Caribbean, well, is already heading toward the Middle East. How long will it take? Well, it's going to take a few weeks. The movements around the military bases that the United States has are not going to be immediate. We'll have to see what reaction, for example, Turkey has, since Turkey has been against this situation. This time, according to what Reuters says, it wouldn't be a single attack. A scenario of war exchange is being studied. If it's being studied, well, it's a possibility, as things are, a possibility of a long-term armed conflict. Not in the long term, but over an extended period, which means accumulation, over weeks. The Pentagon sent a second aircraft carrier that was confirmed today. In addition to thousands of extra soldiers, guided missile destroyers, and configured fighter jets. A force capable of both attacking on land and also defending possible military positions. United States and Iranian diplomats held talks in Oman with people from last week, and there will be more talks. So, the talks haven't ended today. We will talk about the details of the one on the 17th in a moment, but they just confirmed it a few moments ago. On February 17th, there will be another conversation between the United States, maybe the last one. No, it's just that, but in the meantime, the preparation is for that. I mean, if suddenly the United States or Donald Trump says, let's see, well, it's going to be a, are you already ready or are you preparing for a longer term war? Now, what Donald Trump says today, let's listen to it, listen to this, and we'll talk about it.
They've already started in Iran. Well, seems like that would be the best thing that could happen. For 47 years, they've been talking.
They ask him if the Syrianist regime should change. He says a regime change is coming. He says, well, that would be the best thing that could happen. They've been talking and talking for 47 years. Meanwhile, we've lost many lives while they talk. Legs, arms, and faces destroyed, says Donald Trump himself. Some pretty harsh words he gives about, well, now openly talking about a regime change that also, well, draws attention.
Exactly. Today's words were pretty harsh, saying, well, that this change is already needed. And on their part, well, the diplomats from the United States will go, as from the United States, they will leave. Well, remember that they are going to have these conversations. The president said, it's another video?
Let's listen to this now. I want to tell you, yes, let's hear what he said.
The nuclear sites have been completely obliterated. What else needs to be done?
Well, there's a statement made by Donald Trump. He's questioned about his claims that the Iranian nuclear sites were completely destroyed. Do you remember during the 12-day war, he insisted on this, and anyone who questioned him was doubting the bravery of the soldiers, well, the pilots who destroyed this. So today the comment is that they could go after whatever is left, maybe just dust, but they will probably take whatever remains.
In other words, implying that once again Isfahan and all these nuclear facilities could be attacked. Obviously, he's not going to admit that they didn't manage to destroy them all. He's not going to do that. No, that's not our style. But the fact that he's saying they could attack again, even if there's nothing left but dust, means that maybe some of the facilities are still there. That's also quite interesting, and well, this map has been under observation. Let me put it here. In the latest update, there has been a large military buildup in the Middle East, with the aircraft carrier General Ford being sent there. Yes, but there are already 3 destroyers there. The Roosevelt, the Bullies Clay, and the Buey Clay. Let's see what the difference is.
Wait, Clay?
Do you have it? You have a difference.
That is repeated?
Yes, right? It's repeated. Well, there they show 3 destroyers. Aside from this, let's expand a little more to see exactly what each of the points that the United States has is about. Let's see if we can zoom in here. And we're seeing that the one we're looking at here.
Well, here we're seeing some of the destroyers that are in the United States, in the Middle East. Some of them have been there for quite a while. Let's not forget they've been there for some time. For example, the Israeli offshore ship Smith and the Israeli offshore ship Marfel have also been there for quite a while. And well, the Israeli offshore ship Abraham Lincoln just arrived. This is an aircraft carrier that has attracted attention, for example.
Exactly. I mean, that's what we're going to see. We can go into detail, not each one. Let's see if we can observe it and...
It's a lot, and the crew can't just stand around doing nothing. Remember that the same thing happened with Venezuela. We saw Venezuela surrounded and months went by, right? It was even lost for a long time. Yes, something really was going to be done, right? In the end, something was done, not completely, but there was definitely some movement.
So, here we're seeing the United States ship Mitchell, the United States ship McFall, which are some of the ones that are there, the Abraham Lincoln, like you said, the Carmen Strike Group, which are 3 destroyers, the Frank Peterson, the United States ship Spurance, and the United States ship Michael Murphy. 2 submarines, look, also 2 submarines, I don't know if we can see them around there. This is the United States ship Georgia and the United States ship South Dakota, right? Those would also be in that area now, but they're more towards what's the Arabian Sea. Let's see if we can spot it here. At the bottom, you can see 233 Chinese military ships. Yes, that's also, well, it's also an important part of what's happening in this area. Well, let's see how far this situation goes, how far it escalates, right? But there's China, there's Iran, right?
Which apparently doesn't have much, in that regard, it doesn't have much material. It doesn't have, well, a ship carrying drones and small weapons. But they're not talking about aircraft carriers. They're talking about destroyers. They're not talking about submarines.
Yes, no. What they do have a lot of are ballistic missiles, for example, right? That could be dangerous.
Which, well, is one of the things that Israel and the United States want to limit exactly.
And in that sense, well, Trump is right. In the sense that the Ayatollahs have been talking for a long time. For a long time, they've been saying one thing, saying another. Always, well, with a very anti-United States, anti-Israel, and anti-Western attitude, right? Basically claiming that the destruction of the West is their mission. And that's an issue that has caused concern. But now we're starting to remember what kind of weapons they have. For example, what we're seeing here are already tests they're conducting, operations they're carrying out. The S-400 air defense systems, which are Russian-made, and we have to remember that they also have Russian missiles. This is being done in Isfahan, which, according to experts, ensures a significant improvement in air defense capabilities. Military experts. They say that if war breaks out, this time it would have to be different. Because, well, from what happened on June 12, some things were learned, some things were not, and they could try to apply this. Let's move on to other points about what's happening with Iran. This that we're seeing here, this that you can see here, everything is upside down. Not everything is flipped. We'll fix it right now, but what you're seeing here, let's see if we can rotate it over there. I think it's... It is. No, I don't know why it won't continue, but anyway, the thing is that what we're seeing here is, well, communication. a report, a little piece of a report. There you can see it's from the New York Times, Exactly, right? What does it say?
Well, it says that high-ranking officials from the United States, well, obviously leaked that they remain very skeptical that the Iranians will accept an agreement, that Donald Trump likes, that Benjamin Netanyahu also likes, and well, that they have. Basically, Trump is losing patience with this negotiation issue, and every day we see him more upset about it. Also, Trump has been liberally considering various military actions, including attacking, for example, Iran's nuclear program and its dual-use missile capabilities. They are also considering sending United States commandos to attack Iranian military targets, among other measures. This is part of what has been leaked today.
So, look at what Reuters confirms, what the New York Times reports, and what Trump himself says. Well, tell me, where does this show up? A negotiation? I mean, this doesn't look like a negotiation. This seems more like the prelude to a large-scale armed conflict and not so much like there was really a negotiation. Let's see what's going on there.
In this image, we're seeing a comment made by Donald Trump today, or well, remembering, right? That's today's projection.
The comment he made
during the protests, where he told people to keep protesting. But did these hearings also work? The New York Times also says this. They said that planning a second attack against Iran was much more complex, obviously because, well, the Iranians were already alert by then. Besides, this time the United States would respond, obviously targeting the bases, the aircraft carriers, and anything else that could be attacked. About 2 or 3 weeks ago, when it seemed like the attack was going to happen, Iran quickly threatened the bases in Oman and all the bases nearby in the area.
We have to keep an eye on the pizzeria index, not the Pentagon pizzas. Well, look, it's relatively calm. Yes, there have been spikes. Yes, there have been some spikes, but nothing out of the ordinary, except for Domino's Pizza, which seems to be the favorite of those at the Pentagon. No, and that one is there too. It's called We the Pizza, but other than that, I don't know. Besides, since it's February 13th, maybe they're getting romantic with the pizzas.
Maybe. But notice that, for example, one topic that's being discussed is that the authorities, in the few conversations that have happened, there have only been 2, right? The Iranian authorities refused to negotiate on the issue of the ballistic missile program. That was their strong point in the 12-day war, because they say it's part of their Iranian defense strategy. Obviously, then, remember that the United States, for example, smuggled in 6,000 Starlink terminals for the protests that took place, well, recently. This was reported by the Wall Street Journal. The regime obviously was very upset by this and took all the necessary measures to ruin what it was. The Starlink signal made it very difficult to send the videos. And the United States Central Command completed its mission to transfer more than 5,700 detainees from the Islamic State of Iraq. Those are the ones who were in Islamic State of Iraq and Syria who were in Syria. And well, that's part of the movements they've been making. Also because we have to remember that a part of the group of asylum seekers, of the groups affiliated with Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, also had certain ties with Iran.
A war can't be carried out, especially not in a democratic country, if you don't have the support of the people. So only by understanding what's happening inside, the media, it was possible that people, at least a part of the population, would say, well, a war is justifiable, right? So I also think that part of those Starlinks that were sent, I see here that there was already a decision for war. Even long before the protests, this was already decided. It was just a matter of when, and what was needed was for people to know what was happening internally. But since it wasn't going to be possible, because they kept blocking the internet, they said, send them all the Starlinks you can, right? Yes. And at least let information get through, and that the American public, so to speak,
and at least it gets through,
and the American public sees it. Because if not, Trump can't move anything. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. It's like what happened with the Second World War, right? You mean they needed something to justify a war? And well, in part, even though the decisions had already been made, well, in part, the whole Pearl Harbor thing and all that, that's what really, And if we look at it that way, there have always been certain events that, make it easier to support a conflict. Right? Yes, but there are always people against it, obviously, and people in favor, or people who just don't care. But in this case, the fact that there's a population that's practically in the middle of this whole conflict, and the Iranians have even sent a ton of messages saying, hey, we want to end the regime, right?
Of course, well, today, for example, regarding the state of Iran, they've been very open about their contempt. In the United States, they've been burning images where Donald Trump appears and performing acts where they cut off Donald Trump's head. So the level of violence from the Iranian government towards the United States and Israel is intense right now.
Yes, there isn't. You also don't see them wanting to negotiate, not at all.
You don't see any diplomacy?
Neither diplomacy nor negotiation. They have said that their red line is the nuclear issue, and the only one to justify a non-war. Let's say no. A diplomatic move will be the one they allow. The only one who came out to say that they would allow them to come in and observe the nuclear program is Pezeshkian, but other than that, it seems not. There isn't another strong group among the Ayatollahs, much less one that would allow this to happen now. United States officials acknowledge that they expect Iran's direct retaliation not only to take place within the area, but also in the surroundings. I don't know, but they know that. The attacks could even happen in the United States. They could target other interests. It could be in Israel, it could be in the United States. Or do they have groups and people who could be infiltrated? And in one of those situations, a war could start, but then you start seeing sabotage in other parts of the world, right? So I think that's also the case. They're reinforcing, I suppose. Intelligence has to be reinforcing. The internal security of the United States has to be reinforcing. It's not the same as this. Hamas is not the same as another group, or this is a group. It's an oil-producing country that's been preparing for this for years. It's been doing this. I believe the country was preparing for a movement like this from the start. So me remembering, I didn't know about it. About the movies, no. And about science, well, a bit about science fiction, because the movie was very, very, very curious. That movie produced by the Obamas, what's it called? We always forget the name, we always forget. But anyway, this movie, where all of the United States comes to a standstill.
It's leaving I don't know what behind.
Right? Yeah, leaving the world behind, something like that, right?
Leaving the world behind?
Leaving the world behind, right? And it all seems to freeze. You don't know if it's a solar storm, if it's an attack, but it does seem like it's an attack. And at one point, a helicopter appears. No, I don't want to spoil it, sorry, but at one point it's clear that the attack was partly being carried out by the Iranians. Is that implied, right? And this, well, maybe, no, maybe not. Maybe it doesn't have the capacity to. So they're going to send troops and the typical normal war? No, that's far off. The United States, they'll say then, wouldn't it be by the time they arrive? They've already disappeared them. There's no way, but what could happen is that they already have people inside. And how many? Well, who knows? So that's the issue, right? It could be more dangerous than it seems, right? And that's what they'll have to figure out too. Or is that what they've been trying to show for a long time? But let's move on to several other matters of everything that's been happening. Well, to begin with, let's go to another one. No. According to reports, Iran is currently reinforcing what would be, well, these secret mountains, these secret complexes. They're reinforcing them to the maximum. Satellite images are starting to come out, showing all this activity they're doing on some peaks in some regions, basically getting ready. No, we're about to go look at some images. But Iran is showing that inside the mountains that look like desert, that just look like some peaks here and there are tunnels, there are bunkers, which could be part of how they could sustain a war, right? He says. New satellite images from the Institute for Science and International Security, which is pretty interesting because it's that one. And so if you put it all together like that, would it be called Islamic State of Iraq and Syria like the terrorist group? But anyway, no, that's not it. It's just, well, this...
Change the name?
What's it called? I know it's not, no, marketing, yeah, that's it. The Institute for Science shows that there is recent work on Colangas Mountain, also known as Picos or Piquex Mountain. Well, basically, they've had this kind of, reports for a long time. For example, this image, one of these images we've been showing is just from February 10th. They show fresh concrete at one of the tunnel entrances and heavy machinery working in the area.
Exactly. Analysts believe that the entrances are being reinforced to withstand possible airstrikes, especially after the bombings during the 12-day war. They did this in another one we showed about a month or at least 2 weeks ago, remember? Let's remember that in June, the Trump administration attacked these nuclear sites, these 3 nuclear sites, Natanz, Fordo, and Isfahan, which are important sites. However, Piquex Mountain was not one of the sites hit because of that and bombings. What this is now causing them is obviously a strategic precaution. They are protecting it in case an attack happens. And the real purpose of the complex still hasn't been confirmed. It's a mystery. Experts suggest that it could house sensitive activities, such as uranium enrichment or storage of critical equipment. Iran maintains its program is peaceful and solely for nuclear power plants. But, as you know, and as we've mentioned here, the enrichment level far exceeds what's needed for a nuclear power plant. And besides, the amount they had at that very high level was already more than 400 kilos.
400 more than 400 of enriched uranium. No, really, it was a lot. It was quite a lot. We're talking about, yes, there's something there. There's not a very clear intention, right? Now, the point here, or what's interesting, isn't it going to be that within this? Well, with all this stuff, with everything that's happening, what's going to be the role of the International Atomic Energy Agency? No. What's going to be the role of Rafael Grossi? That would be very important. What's going on with that?
Well, the International Atomic Energy Agency is currently negotiating with Iran for access to the nuclear facilities. Well, after the attack that happened, because, Rafael Grossi already said that it's complicated to make this happen. After the attacks, because, the area was left in pretty bad shape. And he says, Grossi, he described the situation as a very, very crucial point where both parties are maintaining dialogue, even if it's not perfect, even if there are problems, and that it's extremely difficult. He says, the resumption of contacts with the OIA is already an important point, because we have to remember that, Iran even made a threat to Rafael Grossi. They kicked out the Oya people who were in Iran. They kicked them out. And after the 12-day war, it was a situation, a total break.
Not exactly. There isn't, at least for now. I think, for me, there's no clarity about what the OIA could really be, right? I understand that the intention of this Grossi is very clear, right? In the end, he wants to, see and basically go in and see exactly what's happening. But who guarantees, who's really checking the bunkers and everything there? Only intelligence? The only ones are Israeli intelligence, United States intelligence, or some other country that has the ability to go and say, wait, hold on. Are you showing this Ifajar facility? But what I want to see is this, what we're seeing right now on the screen, right? I want to see those facilities you have out there in the desert. What are you doing there, right? What?
Why are you protecting it?
Exactly. Clearly, you're doing something there. Let us check out these kinds of places. And that's where I think things won't go well for them, the Iranians. And, I don't know if the International Atomic Energy Agency has the ability to demand something like that to begin with, to even be aware of it. In any case, they get information leaks from some intelligence agencies.
Yes, informants?
Yes, from informants. But beyond that, I don't know if there's a broader capability.
Not exactly. Actually, Grossi says he knows perfectly well that the International Atomic Energy Agency has to verify, and they know how to do it. But they admit it's difficult, huh? To define the next steps, because there's not even an agreement yet, he says, if the process moves forward, if the dialogue progresses, huh? He says there could already be more tangible progress, he says, in the coming days, weeks, or months. But he said it's really something very difficult.
Right now, it's very difficult. And look, if anyone thinks, no, I'm sure the Americans understand it perfectly, Israel also understands it perfectly. I mean, if you think they're already ready, no. I mean, it's going to be something very simple, right? Attacking probably won't be. We have to remember that the Iranians, I mean, the Revolutionary Guard are already generations. I mean, there have already been people. Fathers who were soldiers there had children and made them soldiers too. This has gone on for generations. They are very conditioned, ideologized, however you want to call this kind of operation, and to pay tribute, let's say, to the Ayatollah. So in one of those cases, well, things can get very complicated, right? It was tough, huh? The Afghans couldn't handle them, so just imagine, huh? These kinds of groups that you say aren't that many, or maybe most people, well, probably in Afghanistan too, most people don't want the Taliban, but they're the ones with the weapons and they're the ones who resisted the war. So, huh? They need to calculate this carefully if they want to get involved, or they might create an even bigger problem. I assume that's what they're considering. Let's get into this detail, because here we already have some data about what Iran actually has, right? And well, let's go. There are certain capabilities, but let's not get into that detail yet. Let's just quickly greet the community here. How have you been, Juan Carlos Sanchez? Great to see you. Greetings to Mexico City. It's been a while. Also, greetings to Jose Mendez, Robles, and Cuba. Thank you, Valeria. How are you? 67. And greetings to everyone watching in Campeche. Walter Osorio, how have you been? To the whole community watching us in the city, Mexico, in Querétaro. Well, Gerardo, how have you been? A big greeting. Let's what? That's what Iran has. Let's see. The 12-day war didn't destroy, what do they call it, the military side. Let's say no. What it destroyed were the nuclear facilities. That 12-day war, well, left the Iranian military almost untouched, almost intact. So the Iranians, from the forces they had, well, they have more or less the same, maybe even more. Why? Because there have already been trips by the Russians who apparently are bringing certain weapons. Right now, Russia can't really help much either, but for example, things like ammunition and stuff like that. Now that war, which took place between June 13 and 24 between Israel and Iran, weakened some of Iran's defenses. Because you'll remember that there was destruction of some bases, there was destruction of some missile launchers, but the most important thing, the Iranians, it's not above ground, it's underground, and what was destroyed at that time were nuclear facilities, right? What they're claiming now is that they're better prepared because they've already received an attack from the United States and Israel, or from Israel and the United States, right? And now they would be a bit more prepared. So, what do they have now? Well, they say that at least when it comes to ballistic missiles, they're almost intact. I mean, they have a good amount, but they don't have that many launchers. That's one of the problems they have right now. And it's also not very clear exactly how many drones they have. But it's also known that they have a large number of drones that are cheap and can cause you problems. When it comes to, for example, attacking aircraft carriers, I mean, sure, you have defense systems, but that's all you have. If they launch 1,000 drones, I mean, if they launch a really large number, it's not that easy to stop them. Basically, they play the numbers game.
Let's put it exactly. What the experts say is that basically, if there's an air attack against Iran, well, they'll have the air, open skies. I mean, they basically don't have any defenses. Remember that Israel basically destroyed them all, the weak point, and this could lead to an extended war. Iran is going to counterattack, and its target would be, as we mentioned a while ago, the bases in the region, but it could also strike against the oil infrastructure. Placing mines in the Strait of Hormuz, which is this strait, actually that's in the Persian Gulf. Well, a fifth of the world's oil passes through there. It could also try to attack the American aircraft carriers that are in the area or heading there. Be careful.
The supersonic missiles, well, even though in theory the United States has certain defenses, well, if it doesn't work, just one is enough, right? I mean, with one, it's enough for them to sink it. So if they sink it, just imagine. Well, in history, United States aircraft carriers haven't been sunk in that way. So sinking one of these would be tremendous. I mean, obviously, if that were to happen, the conflict would escalate to an extreme level. If this happens, it would go to war. Now, I take it for granted that oil prices will skyrocket. I mean, because for me, it's a definite yes. they're going to block the Strait of Hormuz. I mean, they're going to paralyze it. They're going to lay mines all over this area and do whatever you want, but nobody is going to get through here. For quite a while, I mean, for a good amount of time, 20% of the oil will disappear, so to speak, right? I mean, it won't be able to move because there just isn't any. It's really easy and cheap to get it out this way. Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait, no, they can't get it out any other way yet. Saudi Arabia might possibly have the option to get it out that way, but Qatar doesn't, and neither does Kuwait. In any case, I would have to ask for permission to do it. I mean, it would take some time. So, if they leave you without oil for a month, without a fifth of the oil, well, that would be complicated. Obviously not, or there are other solutions. I mean, we have to remember that there's the Russia issue, right? I mean, the possibility that something could be negotiated with Russia. It's just that Russia, in theory, he would be angry about the war with Iran.
But it's also convenient for him since oil prices rise?
Yes, the price of oil goes up.
He honestly doesn't have any friends, and in the end, he truly doesn't.
Iran, if it was already our friend, now nobody is your friend because Iran even has a joint space program. Not long ago, they launched a rocket together and everything. I mean, there is something there. They have a Russian nuclear plant inside Iran, and well, they manufacture Iranian drones inside Russia. You know, the famous Shahed drones. The design and the whole factory are Iranian, and the Russians have them. I mean, there really is a super collaboration, you know, let's not deny it. The Syria-Russia or Cuba-Russia relationships aren't the same. This one is much more integrated. Although, well, 2 or 3 times they've also shown their differences, right? I mean, it's not like it's perfect either, but anyway.
Well, according to experts with satellite images, they've been able to see that Iran has been trying to restart the manufacturing, for example, of certain military items like launchers or to repair them, right? But the Israeli attacks have basically left them in very bad shape. What is true is that Iran's exact capability right now is unknown, but they still have more than 1,000 long-range missiles that could reach Israel, and several short-range missiles that could attack United States bases or nearby targets. Also, missile stockpiles are only important if the country still has the systems to launch them. It's an important issue because, well, Israel eliminated many of the launchers, but couldn't destroy them completely, or is it likely that Iran has already rebuilt some of these? As I told you, with the satellite images, have you seen any movements to repair these types of weapons?
Not exactly. Here we're seeing some images that show how, since 2007, there have already been constructions all over this area. So yes, there is movement and there is movement. From day one after the war ended in Isfahan, they were already moving. So they don't waste any time, or if they're on their own, they're just going for it. And the thing is that Iran doesn't have many alliances. I mean, unlike, for example, Pakistan. Pakistan is on a different level. I mean, Pakistan has alliances with Saudi Arabia, has alliances with China, has alliances with the United States, or do they not cover themselves in terms of security? I mean, it's better to ally with several. And the Iranians have been much more orthodox, and because of that, not just anyone has had important alliances. The Chinese have already withdrawn and warned everyone to leave because things will get complicated, and we know China doesn't have any. I mean, they're not really about keeping alliances either. And this is because, well, at the end of the day, there's one. For example, what just happened with Ukraine, right? Or that China is already sending aid to Ukraine. Humanitarian aid if you want, and specifically humanitarian aid in the energy sector. So basically telling Russia, wait a minute, don't attack that area because then I'm also going to step in and help them. And you say, oh, wait a minute. No, they weren't. Supposedly they're partners and friends, but only to a certain extent. And that's also true with Russia, right? Only up to a certain point. No, they're not going to get involved in a conflict, at least not right now, not with how things look internally in Iran. They must be really worried right now. But isn't this also what they've been looking for many years? Or have they been preparing for this conflict for a long time? And one of those things, well, that's it, not to repeat it like that. And well, no. Look, that's a separate issue, right? But the Iranians, despite everything that's happening, everything we've talked about, they've just gained influence at the United Nations. What's going on there? What's the situation?
Well, the Islamic Republic has already chosen who would be the vice president. Of course, a woman in the next session of what's called the United Nations Commission on Social Development during the 64th session, which will be in New York. And this commission is part of Economic and Social Council, which is one of the 8 key functional bodies in social matters. The appointment of this vice president will last for about a year, but Iran will continue as a full member of the body until the end of 2028, so they will be there for quite a while. The commission is made up of 46 member states chosen based on criteria of balanced geographical representation. So there are people or countries from all over the world represented there. Its main function basically is to act as an advisory and analytical body on the issues of poverty, decent employment, social justice, and equality. Just imagine how important that is and how logical.
Well, this is a commission that they already have. It wasn't supposed to be theirs. And well,
Giving North Korea the one for freedom, human rights.
extension in Korean, well, that's how things are. So let's move on to another topic. The digital blackout throughout this entire area keeps increasing. The total blackout has been tremendous. There are some there, just like, well, I think all over the world now, many people have digital jobs. So since this blockade started, people, families, everyone who depends on someone with a job, whether it's because they have a YouTube channel, for example, or they have some kind of digital job, simply haven't been able to receive any income. Digital workers lost international contracts, engineers, translators, and so on, who, well, simply because of this whole blockade, haven't been able to exactly.
More or less. For example, they charge around $50 per hour up to $1,500 for projects that were completely paralyzed. There were many days without internet, and well, according to the Iranian economic newspaper, it reported that one of the main freelance platforms obviously saw its activity plummet by up to 96%. Just imagine during the first days of the blackout. The Iranian currency is also doing very badly, hovering around 1.6 million per dollar, losing half of its value in just 6 months. Also, without stable internet access, workers lost the only way to protect themselves from this economic collapse.
There is a group of businessmen, for example, who received 30 minutes of internet access, and those 30 minutes were just for internet access, controlled by the Chamber of Commerce. That's an example of how they're trying to control the internet as much as they possibly can, 100%. Well, a lot of people have been detained, imprisoned for having a Starlink, for sending information. So yes, it's really serious. There are cases there, of musicians, artists, people who simply made a living from what they posted on the internet. Well, now they're just waiting for things to calm down, for things to change at some point. To the comments, how have you been? How are you? Thank you for joining us and being here for a bit. Cheers and special greetings to the community always here with us. Verderi, I send a big greeting to Robli, to Vikingo, how have you been, 67, and to the whole community who we see here every day. Benedicto, thank you so much for being part of this big family. So, what are you planning to do this weekend? I hope you can recommend a movie or a series. They've recommended a series here called, I think, Tehran, which is on Apple Television.
Yes, it's about spies.
No, I think it's about spies. A girl, they say that series is really good. I saw a trailer. It looks really good. We'll have to check it out. Hi, Marcela. How have you been? How are things in Chile? Shout out to the Chilean community.
Marcela says, terrible without social media, right? I mean, honestly, the internet has been a human right for a long time now because it's not just about entertainment. It's about communicating, knowing what's happening in the world, staying connected, working. Health matters, so many things that the internet has become now. And taking away that right just so the world wouldn't know. But did they say what was happening?
Right now, there's practically an internal revolution starting to brew in Russia. They're really angry.
Because of the Telegram situation?
Due to the Telegram situation and the overall internet issues.
WhatsApp also stopped working?
Yeah. They're really angry. We'll talk about it in detail tomorrow, but they're really upset about that issue. In Russia, there have already been other countries that have even tried it in Africa. We've mentioned here how they've tried and it turned out even worse for them. At least online, you can entertain yourself, right? Yes, you can criticize and do many things online, but ultimately, you're on the internet. If the internet is taken away, sooner or later, you'll express your criticism in the streets instead, right? And so many countries realize that it's better to criticize on the internet. Because if it doesn't get more intense, then I think the Russians will realize that at some point. But, well, in the end, yeah. The internet has helped protests, for example, in Iran to communicate and create these networks of young people and adults too, right? They are going to protest. Greetings, he says. Without the internet, life isn't life, he says. To see how it feels.
Isn't it strange? When you can't see what's happening, you just feel that way.
Greetings, Mauro, he also says. Incredible, Diosdado managed to sabotage the releases. And it's amazing that this issue of amnesty keeps spreading. Greetings, Mauro.
Claudio says, good evening. The earthquake in Chile, don't worry, it was a 6.3. It's not much. It's not health. And Gerardo Hernandez Bueno says, don't worry about Mexico. Starting from the connection of the curviometric, will we be worse off than Iran? I understood that it didn't happen. I understood that the good thing right now wasn't stopped by the Supreme Court. I mean, honestly, I don't know. But first they should fix the security of the Servicio de Administración Tributaria website, the Instituto Mexicano del Seguro Social, all of them, the Secretaría de Educación Pública, because they've been getting hacked and all they say is it's not true, they're not getting hacked. And then the analysts come out, the journalists who specialize in this topic, and they show examples of how they're stealing the information of people who use the Servicio de Administración Tributaria. How are we supposed to give them our biometric data like that?
No, it's not a ridiculous thing. And several governments have tried this. It's not the first one. They always try to get more information, more data, and what do they want it for?
Why do you want my cape? What will you use it for?
And besides, we know that you get hacked all the time.
All the time.
Greetings, Gerardo. How have you been, Valeria? Hello, how have you been, Valeria? Happy Valentine's Day to you guys, and also to everyone in the chat. Thank you very much, Valeria. Greetings, Claudio. Hello, Benedict Joseph Mendez Dorian. And without the internet, I couldn't watch my pay-per-view show. Greetings, Dorian. Hello?
We wouldn't be able to work, but at least in this we would have to work on something else, says Joseph Mendez. Suspending Telegram is a show of weakness, says Joseph Mendez.
Totally.
Yes, completely. If you feel so confident, you don't have to always try to control the narrative. Greetings also to Marcela Riquelme Tunilar, who says good evening to you and Pepe. Greetings.
Greetings. How have you been? Does this mean that the narrative is starting to turn against them, even though they invest millions in creating a narrative? They create it here in Mexico, in the United States. I mean, they've specialized in Russia in creating narratives.
Yes, but it matters a lot to them that everyone abroad also has at least part of their narrative.
Says Jose Mendez. How have you been, Marcela? And with Render Pro? Very well. So a big greeting to the whole community. What are you going to do tomorrow? Are you going to the movies or just hanging out? What's the plan?
I thought today with your friends, your girlfriends, the ones from Domino's, the ones from poker, who got together. We noticed there was a lot happening with that topic.
He says, Vikingo. He says, the dog, the cat, and I from Los Guardianes de Amor dedicated it to me for the devil. A big greeting, Vikingo.
It's the purest love there is between pets.
It's amazing how much your pet loves you.
Yes, they don't see you as if...
Yeah.
You're the greatest thing I've ever known.
It's funny, a little awkward at times because it's... Suddenly. For example, right now, a lot of times we finish and we go watch a show, an episode, a movie, and sometimes we were there all day, we were outside, whatever it is. So we get to the stream. We stream in the morning, we go out and we come back at night. And sometimes we take the dog out, whatever. So there's Yoko, especially her, she's not really missing us. So when we go downstairs to watch movies, that's our time together, right? So you have her here like this. So I say, wait, can you have dinner? Give me a chance to have dinner first and then I'll pet you, okay? And she's like that, like she's already excited, but not like that. But she's very much like that. Like she just stares at you like, come on, but she doesn't bother you. She's just like that with that fixed stare, right? And then when you finish dinner, she comes over and snuggles up to you, right? But yeah, she's really, really, really funny.
Greetings to Caribal. How are you, Marilena? How am I here? Present. Greetings from Luna. What's up? Greetings here. Also present to Meows. Greetings from Chile there with Render. And yes, I'm waiting for one of those promos, though not from Monterrey. I don't actually know where it was from.
No, it's not here.
Not from here? Well, maybe yes, but I didn't hear the accent. I mean, I didn't notice an accent.
You couldn't see it?
No, I didn't know. The one about greetings, yes. I was watching a podcast of people who study the Bible, but they're not religious. And it talks about how the world has been run for centuries. It's fascinating. What always really catches my attention is how we are super cyclical. I mean, seriously. Recently, a monologue by Ian Mack went viral. What's his name? Ian McKellen. Yes, the actor went to the show. I think it was McKellen's, if I'm not mistaken, or one of those late night shows in the United States. And he repeated a monologue from a Shakespeare play where they talk about migrants. And they're exactly the same comments you hear now, people saying that migrants come to steal. Our work is about how we keep repeating the same cycle and can't get out of it.
The example? Look, what's it called? Let's see. Do you remember that book we read about the plague? The plague? No, yes.
Yes, I think it's called The Plague.
Yes, well, it's a book written. Let's see if you remember who. What's his name? Oh, I remember, but well, it was written around 1600, 1700, one of the many pandemics that have happened, right? So, in that pandemic, when you read this book, do you think we're repeating the same things? I mean, just like here, where people would go out, the pandemic and all, and there was always someone like that.
They'd sell you small items claiming to cure you.
No, but that's how people were then. Some denied it existed. Even as people were dying, they claimed it wasn't true or said it was a government trick. People were saying that back then. And also the typical thing like, oh, they say it's this. They say all the same things they always bring up when there's an illness, exactly the same things. Back when that kind of misinformation really stressed me out. And when I read the book, I thought, well, look, we're a cycle. Human beings behave the same way all the time. We evolve very little, really. More technology and whatever you want, but not this, but yes.
Or The Diary. The Diary of the Year of the Plague is a book by Daniels Defoe from 1722. Exactly.
Please, if you like reading, you're going to love the book. You'll really love it. It's a literal diary. I mean, he wrote fiction. In fact, he's the one who wrote this one, if I'm not mistaken, where this character appears. Jules Verne and all. No, not Jules Verne, the one with Friday.
Let me see, because I don't remember.
Yes, I do remember. But anyway, if you can check, it's a diary, literally.
Robinson Crusoe?
Robinson Crusoe, he's the one who wrote Robinson Crusoe. But at that moment, seeing this whole situation, he started to write. And he also saw the same behavior from millionaires that happened during the pandemic, that the millionaires, look how comfortable they are. Do you remember how the millionaires would go to islands, go to places like that? Well, here too, right in England where he was, the millionaires, look, let's go. They all left. And he had money too. He could leave because he had very wealthy relatives, and I think he was wealthy too. And he decides to stay because he's curious to be able to document all of that, so he documents day this, day that. They started closing the windows because they said something about the windows. I don't know what. On a certain day, I don't know what. So the description is really great. Honestly, it makes you understand that human beings, like you guys say, right? We're cyclical and we're constantly doing the same thing. But anyway, he says, but we don't learn, says Tapache.
Luis Hernandez says, what would be good? What would be a good digital gift for Friendship Day? What do you think about AI? What will AI think about the 14th? Well, who knows what it thinks, but what would be good? What would be a good digital gift? I think that, for example, a subscription to something, right? If someone likes movies, then give them, I don't know, a movie subscription or something like that.
That thing, if you say, well, I'm going to give it as a gift, but my friend already has Netflix, so let me give them something they don't have, not something they already have. You know what? I gave you 3 months of Apple television so you can binge a series you like or not.
Or if they like video games, then give them a video game gift card. There are a lot of options.
Exactly. You just need to have a general idea of what they like, right?
From Amazon and let them buy whatever they want to.
Yeah, exactly. An Amazon gift card and that's it. People are happy with that. It's a good gift.
Greetings to Jose Mendez. Oh, I forgot to tell you, no, it's not for us. Greetings to Walter. How are you, Walter? How are you doing?
Very good. Greetings.
Says Marilena. Oh, by the way, my cats are so lovely. Animals are pure love. Take good care of them. Everyone who's having a birthday, those who are sick, hugs, greetings.
Greetings. How have you been? Very good, she says about cats and hearts. I know. Cats are very good. Greetings. How have you been, Meow? What's up, Marcella? And with Rosalinda Mercedes, how have you been? The Plague by Albert Camus. I don't know this one.
That other one, who? That other one? She says, yes, you can see them. They talked. How long has the Middle East conflict lasted, and what is the race's origin? They were only left with one question at the end, which was, who was the one that sacrificed Jesus? Greetings, yes.
Greetings, how have you been? Very well, he says, I comment. Pepe, he says, that's why things don't happen. It's because of unbelievers, denial, and when they get sick, they regret it. I send you all a hug. Greetings, how have you been, Maria Elena? This one? Greetings to everyone. Notice how that topic of denial in general is constant, or if something happens that scares people or scares some people. And it's like there are people who go into absolute denial at that moment, at that instant, right? So we also have to be aware of that. No, because it can happen to us, or maybe we don't realize it and we're in denial ourselves that something is happening, or maybe a family member or someone we know is, and we need to know how to handle it because, like they said, it's a mistake to try to force or convince them. No, it's not about me being right, even though you know you're right. And you know you have to be very patient because people just don't get it if you try to force the information on them. I mean, no, it's not going to happen. So just listen and be patient. And well, Piston says, hello, what's Turna up to? Turna? Yeah, actually, I'm working on the exam for the social work degree. On the other hand, I had my mother-in-law's birthday, but I didn't bring her any gift. So, how have you been? Greetings, Piston. I didn't understand what Turna is. How have you been? Very good. Understood? He says, good evening to everyone all the way to Querétaro. What's up? He says. The best gift would be a super chat, he says. Greetings, Manuel. A super chat wouldn't be bad. Exactly, Manuel. That would be a good one, Porksick.
It said, Lausch is a dramatizer, incognito. He's a boy, dad to boy, goes from visions. Yes.
No, wait.
It's just that this is the season, yes?
Season 12.
Yes, I already clicked it, but it's not loading. I don't see it. Who knows if... No, yes, it's charging.
Now it's 1 and 2.
Yes, both are ready now. I don't know her. This actress is good. They say she's really good. A bleak and toxic future. Thousands of people live in a huge underground silo. Oh, everything we like, yes. Then what does it say? After the sheriff breaks the main rule, there's always someone who misbehaves and some residents die mysteriously. The engineer Julieta, who is Rebecca Ferguson and whom I love, starts to uncover surprising secrets. And the truth about the silo, you have to watch it.
You have to watch it. You have to see it, they say. Turma means group.
In what? In Uruguay?
Well, I don't know if it's in some language or if it's just like that. It's just that I hadn't heard the term until today. We went for a walk for a while, and we were talking about those terms we use in different countries to refer to the same thing, like whether it's ordenador in Spanish or something else. What do they call them? Champions in Argentina. I don't know if in Uruguay they also call them champions. I'm not sure. But they're terms that you think are going to be the same, and they're not, right? Like sneakers.
Sneakers, yeah.
Yeah, it is. Why does tennis even start? I mean, if tennis, the sport, tennis, shouldn't have anything to do with sneakers, the shoes, or why? At what point did that happen?
Because sneakers were invented for basketball. Before, people used to wear something like slippers.
Tennis already existed.
Tennis already existed, yes, and they wore those slippers.
So what was it first?
Yes, well, the game...
The guide, the game?
Obviously, the game.
No, I don't mean tennis. At what point did we decide to call tennis tennis?
Tennis, yes.
In the United States, they also say tennis. No, what do they call it?
Over there, they call it...
In which place?
Footwear, athletic footwear. Wait, I'm not sure.
Yes.
Yes, very.
He says this. He says, you see it, right? Wolverine?
Tennis too?
Tennis too.
Well, but tennis is the game.
No. Tennis the game, no. But tennis as in sneakers. Tennis sneakers, tennis shoes. No, but tennis shoes. But are you referring to the tennis one? I mean, the tennis shoe, salguar, tennis.
See, those who live in the United States, what do they call tennis shoes?
In the United States, are champions called sneakers or tennis shoes? Sneakers.
Not sneakers.
But it's not like
Do you also say tennis shoes with sneakers? Yes, well now.
there are going to be sneakers of.
Yes, for everyone, or is it just me, or does it seem like sneakers is used more for casual tennis shoes?
I don't know why. Yeah, I mean, they also made exactly that for me. Or is it kind of an old school term?
No, because there you have it. They give me sneakers.
I mean, there isn't. It was stolen. No, it didn't run away. It was stolen.
There aren't others. There are others. Yes, they said there's a sneakers. Yes.
The sneaker store. Well, it ran away. It's not the one that had stripes. They're talking about black and white stripes. The people who work there. Do you remember that store? Do they just sell sneakers? The store is very popular in the United States. No?
Oh, you're talking about the brand that sounds the same, but yes, sneakers in Vegas, tennis shoes.
Yes.
But tennis shoes, that's strange.
Tennis shoes, that's strange. Yes.
Super strange. It sounds like a dancing shoe. It doesn't sound like, yeah.
Here, I think in all of Mexico, we call them the same tennis shoes.
You say tennis shoes? Yes.
They call them tennis shoes. The canyon, which shook in Utah, also 3.6, it says at 6 o'clock. Weird, right? We had an earthquake in Utah. The epicenter was here, near my house, it says. It felt awful and sounded like an explosion or cars crashing. Very strange and crazy.
Crazy.
Christy, didn't you have it from...
Is it registered there?
I don't know. I'll check. I suppose so.
Because I do check that here. Yes, it's there. Look, there it is. It's around there.
Let's see this one.
There's the little red dot.
No.
That one.
Camera.
And the little red dot. What's up? Was it intense or was it not intense or what?
Yeah, it's a 2. No, I think it's because, I don't know. 2.6, 2.3 depth maybe because of the depth. But look, this is the one from Utah, right? In Salt Lake City, near the Great Lake, there's the earthquake. Look, yeah, it's interesting. Thanks, Christy. How are we? Greetings.
Greetings, says Erderi. An American will never say tennis. Yes, no, says Jota. A question, friends. What happened with the comet Atlas? Has it already left the neighborhood? Yes.
So it's heading toward Jupiter from now until March. Is it going to reach Jupiter or just pass by? Ah, I see. And there's still information that in theory will be coming out in the next few months. Let's see if there's any news. But for now, yes, it's moving away.
Look, Vicky, I think this is the brand you were talking about from the Food Locker store. That's right. Have they finished here?
No, I know there wasn't one here, but I mean, if you lived on the border, what is it?
Okay, no, I don't know them like that.
I never went to one of those.
Those stores, yes, greetings too, says Manuel Munoz. The advantage of Spanish is that we use one word for several things. The advantage for foreigners? Yes, learning Spanish is horrible for foreigners because besides each country has different words for the same things. I mean, yes.
It's really complicated and meanings within the same word are totally different. And wait.
Not to mention the tenses. The Japanese don't know how to do conjugations because they don't conjugate. But then I wonder, how do they talk about the past, present, future, the imperfect, the past perfect?
And with so many issues, like with pronouns, for example, there are countries that don't even have pronouns.
Isn't that awesome?
They don't use pronouns.
They don't get into trouble. They don't struggle. That dog over there.
Nothing like she, he, she, or anything like that.
I mean, everyone is equal.
Everyone is equal. It's funny, well, for us, because yes, sometimes how must they see us? Isn't it like when we see Japanese people talking and you don't understand anything? Yeah, it is.
Stop talking. Greetings to everyone in the chat and to Vikingo. And they filmed the unidentified flying object, or a WAP as they call it now, in the Argentine Patagonia, emitting a strong beam of light. Okay.
Yeah, there are several. We'll talk about it later or tomorrow.
The present perfect and the infinitive ensure nothing is left out, so they never finish. Yes, I remember when I was a little girl and they started teaching us about the past perfect and I don't know what else, the imperfect past. And me, I really hated it. I hated that person.
What's it called? Can you repeat the book's name? The one we just discussed?
Do you think I closed it? I'll find it soon.
Yeah. Look at this one. And what?
And that, what do I do?
And it opens everything you opened.
Which one?
These two.
These two? Yes.
And you can follow it there several times. Right? Now chop. Okay.
To see if it works.
It's gonna come back.
Here it's also called The Diary of the Year of the Plague.
The Diary of the Year of the Plague, and the author.
The author's name is Daniel Defoe, like the actor, but with an E.
Daniel Defoe, The Year of the Plague.
The Year of the Plague.
Daniel Defoe.
Where is that book?
Is Gandhi here, by the way, for this?
No, I bought it. No, yes, at Gandhi.
Gandhi, yes. So it's a relatively small book. I think it was red, right?
Obviously, the one in front is blue, and we bought it in the city, and the back is white.
We bought it after the pandemic began. No, yeah.
Well, yes. Every time we start,
They took advantage, saying, oh, this book is good.
let's find out on websites.
He says, at the Interlingua English School, they scolded us because we didn't even know Spanish. It's the classic. They don't even know how to speak Spanish.
No, and then, for example, in English, British English is not the same as American English. For example, they call oatmeal completely differently. In England, they call it porridge, and in the United States, they call it oatmeal, so it's the same thing, right? In the end, they have different words. Yes.
One comes from where?
Vikingo says, are you thinking now? I haven't heard that word. Yes, of course. So, greetings to Plusquap. He says the perfect Plusquap and the mother in a car. What is the perfect Plusquap? What is that? Greetings to Francisco. I have a friend in the United States who took the Spanish course and failed it. Oh, the thing is, he's from here. Or, well, does he know Spanish? Yes. Says Valeria. Guys, it happens to me with my partner who is from Buenos Aires that they call sneakers zapatillas, and now I just say zapatillas, and he looks at me weird.
You call them champions, so how should he react?
Right? Her partner calls them champions. No, it happens to me with my partner who is from Buenos Aires. You get used to it.
I mean, even you within Argentina itself.
I saw it. I learned it in a video by this comedian, Lucho Mayera, who says that someone complained that when he gets home, he always throws things. The champions at the entrance. And I was like, what the heck is he talking about? And then at some point, they clarify that the champions are sneakers. For me, it was clear, like in Argentina, they call sneakers champions for me, but apparently not, right?
It's by region, not by person.
And also because there's the whole thing about regions. For example, here in Mexico, let's say someone seems like they have money, like that's how they are, like very, very preppy. We say fresa, right? Someone who is very, like they say pillo in Spain, here they say fresa. But if you go to, I think in Chiapas, no, over there they say Freddy, they call them Freddy. But also each area has its own different words. Yes, he says, when I go to Mexico, I see a lot of paint cans, like a product of a fire, like I don't understand.
He says, in Mexico, I see a lot of paint cans. I don't get it. Like, how does that come up? Please clarify it for me.
Says Gerardo Hernandez. Flat or apartment? Yes, of course.
I've also heard that, the flat, but yeah, I mean, and here they call it piso, for example, not here. In Spain, they call it piso, but it was never clear to me. I mean, is piso the apartment? Or does piso mean you have the whole floor? Like the entire floor? One floor? I don't know. That's something only the Spanish community can say. Tuesday, nickel or sneakers? Yes.
Just because we speak Spanish doesn't mean we know grammar. I include myself, says Dorian.
Yeah, there are just so many rules. Suddenly, I don't know why, but for a while, YouTube started showing me a lot of grammar shorts so I could learn. Really good. Ask me if I remember any of that. Well, nothing, because you'd have to be really dedicated to remember every term. What someone who knows about these things, who's good at grammar, told me is that there's no better way to learn grammar than by reading books, reading the news.
It's odd when you see a misspelled word and think, I don't know why, but it looks weird, right?
But it's wrong, you say. I don't know why or the rule, but it's wrong.
What surprises me is people who write really badly and use it anyway. I mean, they write to you on WhatsApp and you say, but if WhatsApp tells you it's wrong, why didn't you care about that? Greetings to Nova, who is highly recommended. The movie Help Help is called Help. It's very entertaining and there are some really funny moments.
Okay. Let's go.
Greetings to Nova. Greetings to Freddy. How are you? Greetings, why Freddy? Oh, I know Freddy. Yes, you are definitely a Freddy. Greetings to Ayuda. No, I didn't understand it when a friend told us. Yes, and then we moved on.
But I know why.
Because
it's Freddy the Fresa. That's the only reason.
yes,
Of course,
she's the girl from this.
it's like when you say like baseball, that, for example, the same thing. Also, it's fine, Freddy. Yes, the same thing. It's like baseball. Like Tintin, who played with all those guys.
This one says Benedicto. Yes, different idiomatic, phonetic forms. Greetings, Benedicto, says the author of Robinson Crusoe. Yes, the author says. Piso means apartment in Spain, says Giselle.
It's an apartment. And if you have the whole piso, if you own the whole piso, what do they call it?
That's called a penthouse?
Penthouse. No, I don't know.
Here, that's what it's called. In a penthouse, you own the entire floor, and some even have 2 floors. Yes, greetings to us. What do you say? Banana in Argentina, Paraguay, Uruguay, Bolivia, Chile, and banana in Colombia, Ecuador, Costa Rica, Honduras, Nicaragua, and Guatemala, Guinea. What do you hear in the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Panama, El Salvador, Honduras, Eastern Cuba, the Colombian Caribbean, Camber, in Venezuela? Exactly, and plantain, and here plantain, and then I hadn't thought that the plantain isn't even ours. It's not from America. Oh, no, it's not America. It's something they brought from some islands over there. I don't know if it's from Papua New Guinea, which part, but not even from here. But the bad thing is that when they bring that kind of food, like what happened in Haiti, it sounds like a Bad Bunny song. But like what happened in Haiti, they brought pineapple to Haiti and I don't remember what else. Also sugarcane, because they have an obsession with sugarcane. Yes. The imperialists from 1800. And basically they wiped out all the fruits. Yes. Original ones. And they were lost. Back then, they didn't care about ecology at all. Of course, says Platano. In Mexico, Peru, Chile, Western Bolivia, Cuba, Gualele, and Eastern Bolivia. Wow, that's really crazy, huh? He says,
Dad, one day traveling. The army stopped me with a group of South Americans in southern Mexico. They said, take off your belt. And I was the only one free. I said,
I didn't understand.
It was the South Americans from southern Mexico. They told the group, take off your belts. But I was the only one free. They didn't understand. I gave him his bone and heart. Greetings, he says. Tennis comes from French because tennis means have, take, or receive. In France, they would shout that word as a warning. There goes the ball. Soccer, so it comes from soccer. From France and from soccer, something like that.
Although, says Jay, in Spain, they call apartments pisos and apartment buildings are called fincas. How did they make fincas? They call apartments piso.
Piso, yes.
And to an apartment building, yes, an actual apartment building, they call it fincas. Here, fincas means like a ranch. Yes, like a ranch, but not a fancy one because a finca is more luxurious.
Yes.
It's a place where maybe you have your grapes for your homemade wine that you make as a hobby.
He says, it's true, he says. Nobody knew what the word fajensi meant. Fajensi is what I understand by fajensi is.
It's to tuck in your shirt.
Do you tuck your shirt under your pants? Yeah. So you can see the belt, right? So you don't have your shirt hanging out. No, yeah, that was it. Yeah.
And why were they the only ones who survived? I don't know. He says, greetings to. And he also says that in Venezuela, cambur means banana. And here he says, Benedicto says, just like here, pisos in Argentina, also in Argentina.
Also in Argentina. Okay. Here they say apartment or department, right? Uh-huh.
It says here, Manuel says, speaking of movies, what suspense series do you recommend? Oh, well, it's not Severance, which is really good.
Severance is good.
We're also watching the Slow Horses one.
Right, but the suspense,
it's suspense, yes.
The suspense, yes.
It's suspense, but political. It has that extra. Yes, the other one is suspense. They don't even know what's going on.
And the other one, the one who appears in Better Call Saul. What's his name? Pluribus?
Pluribus? Yeah, it's another one like Severance. You're totally lost watching both of them.
Suddenly there will be people, because they haven't said it here, who love it, others who just didn't like it. So check it out and see what happens, right?
Let's go, guys. Remember that we're on WhatsApp, we're on Telegram too, we're on X, on Instagram, and what did I miss? Yes, WhatsApp, on Instagram.
On Instagram, greetings, Tapatia, Yo-Yo, Marcela Francisco, to the whole community. Thank you so much to everyone who is a member of the channel. Thank you also for supporting us. There are several ways to support the channel listed in the description. Thank you. See you tomorrow. We interrupt your regular programming. Thank you for tuning in.
Honestly, this is PP. The truth is intense, the unusual is real. Here we analyze it. Global focus. Don't miss out. Tune into the PP channel live, controlling the PP signal and Astra telling it like it is. Raw journalism here, it's respected. Turn on the alert, don't lose track until next time. Yes, sir, we're taking attendance.